Ați fost dintre voi la...
In March of 2003, I got a job as a research assistant in a project called the Bucharest Early Intervention Project, and this study showed how detrimental the effects of being raised in an institution can be for the rest of your childhood and also into young adulthoodness. Afterwards, after about 3 years, I started thinking, well, how about if I run studies in child development and particularly in developmental psychopathology? So that is the area in which we try to understand how a children may develop towards or in a way that is not optimal or, not good for them, particularly in the presence of risk factors. Everyone's brain expects some conditions in the postnatal life. Basically, after birth, you would be exposed to sounds, you would be exposed to human touch, and this all contributes to the neurons getting linked to each other. If this process is not done properly, and if it's not done at the certain periods, critical periods when it needs to be done, then brain can suffer a lot. Deprivation and neglect in the form of institutional life can have a very profound impact on the way children develop, not only in terms of their intelligence, but also in terms of the social relationships that they form with the primary caregivers and also with other members of the families. There are two main patterns here when talking about attachment. So some children suffer of a form of attachment disorder that is inhibited in the sense that they do not want to be approached. When people try to comfort them, they refuse contact, they even start crying. You won't be able to comfort them, and they won't allow you to hug them, for instance, to provide comfort and care. Stereotypies, for instance, so the fact of so this phenomena of rocking or shaking hand, that's linked to being deprived, severely deprived. And there's the opposite then. There's a disinhibited type where children would react really in a strange manner the first time they see a stranger, any stranger around them. They would go to them, put their hands on them, start talking to them. They even call you dad or mommy, So imagine how wrong this phenomenon is, because a child is supposed to be that familiar just to their primary caregivers, right, with whom they have formed already an attachment relationship. If they do that with strangers, that means that they don't have secure attachment formed with anybody, and they try to get attention from whoever is available, even if they are not familiar at all. And these children are particularly vulnerable to very awful things like sexual predators, and they can easily form abnormal relationships that, can guide them to construct unhealthy romantic relationships later in life. And that all started from the fact that they did not have a proper, warm relationship with a preferred caregiver. So unfortunately, researchers have learned a lot about the impact of psychosocial deprivation from studies that involved Romanian children. In institutions, particularly during communism, conditions were really, really bad. If you stayed in an institution from birth until more than your first 2 years of life, then your development would be compromised. But if you were taken out from institution and placed in a foster family before the age of 2 years, then the chances of being recovered are much higher.